Hello everyone, today we're going to discuss the cost of starting a freight brokerage. So I guess you're thinking about starting your freight brokerage and you probably want to know how much money is it going to cost you to get started. And as with many things in this life, there is no simple answer to this question. However, we are going to break down a few things which will make it easier for you to understand what you can expect and prepare for that. First and foremost, there are fixed costs to setting up your freight brokerage. You're going to have to pay for application fee, a few other filing fees, which are usually under $500–600. Then you will need to obtain a surety bond, something we have discussed in a different video, which I am going to link below. And as if you watched it already, you may know that cost of surety bond will vary depending on your financial and credit situation. But let's assume that you have decent credit and the cost of the bond is somewhere, let's say, under $1,500. Now let's assume that you also want to set up an LLC or incorporate, so there are a few $100s for filing your company registration. So if we're going to add everything up, your initial cost could be, let's say, under $2,500. Again, it can be a little bit higher, it can be lower, depending on the cost of your surety bond. Now, those are your fixed expenses to establish your freight brokerage. Now, you're probably going to need some equipment and some software. In terms of the equipment, in most cases, if you have a decent computer and you have a cell phone, you are somewhat set. You will need an internet connection, obviously, but you don't really need to own anything else. Today, you really don't even need to own fax and scanner, because in most cases you can get stuff scanned with your smartphone, and you can print into PDF and save files in a digital format. Also, when it comes to software, you will need a few things like an office suite, potentially a TMS software, and a good PDF editor. Again, all of those options exist in a freemium model, basically, where you can start using them for free and you don't have to pay anything for it until you need certain specific features. We discuss these questions in greater detail in our course, but for now, let's just remember that in most cases, you probably already have all the equipment that you will need, and all the software that you may need is available for free in one form or the other. So now you know what it's going to cost to form your freight brokerage and get your license, what you may need for your equipment. Is that all you need? Now, a lot of people make this mistake. They assume that this is all they need. They only have to spend whatever, $2,000–3,000, and they're going to be set up and can start operating their freight brokerage. And while technically it's true, there are a few things that needs to be considered, and some people fail to consider those things, and then they spend the money on getting their license, but they cannot move any further from there. There are two other expenses that you need to factor for. One of them is operational expenses. So, for example, if you're actually going to end up doing business right away, you may need some cash just for the operations. For example, we discuss in our course cash flow gap, which is being created because you may have to pay motor carriers within 30 days, and you may not have the money, or you will not receive this money from your clients for 60 to 90 days. So basically you have to pay motor carriers out of your pocket, and if you're not prepared for that, that can create a problem, that can create that cash flow gap. Now, you can cover it obviously with your own funds if you have them, or you can cover it with factoring, something we will discuss in other videos. But if you're not prepared for this, this can get you into all kind of trouble. Now, another one is marketing expenses. A lot of people don't think of that, but if you are new to this business, you will have to market it. And marketing usually will cost some money. How much money is it going to cost you? Again, that depends. Depends on the skills and knowledge you already have, the skills and knowledge you are willing to acquire, and just in general about your ambition. Someone may start with some basically guerrilla marketing strategies, which are going to cost only a few $100s a month. Somebody may want to go big and do a lot of advertisement, and they may want to hire freight agents to help them with sales. So it's all going to cost money. And just in general, we need to remember that, if you're trying to set up a large operation right away, you may need an office, you may need, again, some sort of furniture, you may have to pay utilities and so on and so on. So a lot about that startup depends on your ambition and your general business plan. So let's summarize. Your fixed cost of establishing your freight brokerage and getting your license will really depend on the cost of your surety bond. That is going to be your main expense. And again, it usually can range between $2,000 and $5,000. In terms of equipment, if you're just operating on your own, not hiring anyone, you probably already have everything you need to get started and there's no need to buy anything. That also applies to software. When it comes to operational capital, again, depends on how much operations you're going to do at the beginning. If you're doing none, then that's not a problem you need to worry about. If you're doing little, still may not be a problem you need to worry about. If you expect to do a lot of business right away because you already established some contacts or contracts, then you need to think about this problem and make sure that you are properly funded. And last but not least, remember about marketing. Marketing is going to cost you money. How much money is up to you, but it will cost you something. So plan for that as well. So now you know what to expect when establishing your freight brokerage. And with all that being said, we are going to wrap up this video and I will see you next time.